wrestling fans? My name is Brian Crazy. You're watching my brand, the F brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com and the World Wide Web. Since 2010, providing you with the wrestling news, reviews, rumors, and insights that you're grown accustomed to. And you saw the title of this video. I am back with my WrestleMania 29 review for you guys tonight. WrestleMania 29 took place April 7th, 2013 from a sold-out MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Over 80,000 people in attendance. The second largest WrestleMania crowd in company history and the largest grossing WrestleMania money-wise in history. We start off with the WrestleMania pre-show at 6 p.m. and the highlight of the pre-show is a three-man panel, and the Intercontinental Championship is on the line. The Miz ended up picking up the win over Wade Barrett. This was a great match, a lot of false finishes, a lot of back-and-forth action. At the end of the day, I felt like this match was a little short for an hour pre-show. I felt like the match should have been double the length that it was allotted. It was only given about 5 minutes, and I would have really liked to see a 7 to 10 minute match. But two solid workers, a solid match. I really enjoyed what I saw. I just wanted to see a little bit more. Then we go into WrestleMania 29, the first official match of the night, The Shield versus Randy Orton, Sheamus, and The Big Show. And during this match, Orton and Sheamus are working great together as a team, but they're kind of excluding Big Show from the action. They're tagging each other in, but they don't tag the Big Show in. And it comes down to the final tag-in, and they look past the Big Show. And Randy Orton ends up in a predicament where he finds himself getting pinned, and the Big Show refuses to get in the ring and assist him. The Shield end up picking up the win in this match, and then we end up seeing Big Show lay out not only Sheamus, but Randy Orton to end this segment. Then we go into Mark Henry versus Ryback, and this is a battle of two brutes. These guys go back and forth. Ryback actually picks Mark Henry up for shell shock. It looks like he's about to deliver. Mark Henry ends up grabbing the ropes, falling right down on top of Ryback and getting the win. No kick out, no continuing the match. This is how they decide to end it. I really didn't like the ending of the match, but then Ryback gets his WrestleMania moment. He comes back, delivers that huge meat hook clothesline, and ends up lifting up the big man and delivering shell shock after marching around the ring with Mark Henry high up on his shoulders. Then we go into the tag team title match. Team Hell No versus Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston with AJ Lee at ringside. This is a good match. A lot of back and forth action. I really enjoyed this contest. Team Hell No was successful. They picked up the win, and Daniel Bryan got a little redemption for his loss last year at WrestleMania when he lost the World's Heavyweight title in a matter of seconds. This year, he was able to successfully defend his tag team championship alongside his tag team partner Kane. Then Go. Mr. Johnny Curtis himself makes his huge in-ring debut at WrestleMania 29, and he squares off against Chris Jericho, arguably one of the best workers in the history of WWE, one of the best workers in the history of professional wrestling. These guys have a pretty good match. I would have liked to see a little bit more here because I know both these superstars can bring more to the table. At the end of the day, Go ends up picking up the win over Chris Jericho after a quick roll-up. Like I said, I would have really liked to see a little bit more, maybe see this match finished with that signature leg drop he's been hitting off the top rope. We saw several of those throughout the course of this match, but I would have liked to see something just a little bit different with this, especially we had two great workers, and it really could have been a little bit better, in my personal opinion. Not a horrible match, but it could have been just a little bit better. Then we have Alberto Del Rio square off against Jack Swagger, and this is a phenomenal contest. A lot of false finishes, a lot of back and forth action. A lot of brutality, a lot of submission holds, a lot of telling a story inside the ring. I think that's what a lot of current performers are forgetting, is telling a story in the ring. They're so worried about choreographing every single maneuver. They're no longer telling the stories like wrestlers of the past used to tell, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. You never realized that after his neck injury, he only did 5 to 10 moves. You never thought about that. You just thought about the great stories he told throughout the matches, throughout the moves, throughout. You guys understand what I'm trying to say, I'm sure. Alberto Del Rio ends up picking up the win, and he successfully retains the World's Heavyweight title against Jack Swagger. Then Undertaker squares off against CM Punk, and I have to say, going into this feud, I really was questioning if Paul Bearer did not pass away. And unfortunately, I did not get to do a video about Paul Bearer or the passing of Reid Flair. So in this video, I want to say rest in peace, Paul Bearer, one of the greatest wrestling managers in the history of professional wrestling, and rest in peace, Reid Flair. He was younger than me. He was just starting his wrestling career. He had some personal demons that he was fighting, and unfortunately, it looks like those demons overcame him. but I want to say rest in peace to both those athletes. Well, one athlete, one manager. It is sad when anybody loses their life. I want to send my condolences out to the Moody family and to the Flair family. Undertaker versus Punk. And like I said, what would they have done if Paul Bearer didn't pass away? And I really don't like how this match was set up. I think this should have been Taker coming out and squaring off against Punk. Taker's all about respect. Punk was desperately seeking that respect, but instead they set it up in a four-way dance. I understand that Undertaker's streak is almost like a title, that different superstars are vying to break that streak. So I understood why they set it up that way, but I would have liked to see the feud set up a little bit differently. I think with Paul Bearer passing, it was smart for them to include that in the storyline. I think Paul Bearer would have approved of that because he was huge on the wrestling business. The wrestling business was his life, and at the end of the day, Undertaker got that redemption. He defeated CM Punk, and he went 21-0. Then we go into Triple H with the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels in his corner against the War Machine, the Mastodon, Brock Lesnar, and this is a brawl. I mean, Kimura lock after Kimura lock, slam on the steel stairs. We have steel chairs, the sledgehammers into play. Shawn Michaels ends up getting F5. I mean, this is just a great, great, great match. At the end of the day, Triple H got that redemption he so desperately sought. He avenged his friends. He avenged his broken arm, two broken arms, his friend's broken arm, the New Age Outlaws being attacked, his wife being talked down about. He avenged all of that, and he picked up the win over Brock Lesnar. And in the final match of the night, John Cena squared off against The Rock for the WWE Championship, and John Cena desperately needed to beat The Rock. He felt like, in the story, since that loss last year, his professional and personal life fell apart. I know a lot of fans did not like the storyline, but I liked the way that they were going with this. Honestly, I like the build going into WrestleMania 28 a little bit better. I felt like those promos had a lot more emotion, a lot more heart. It felt a lot more personal. This year, it felt just not as strong. It didn't feel like there was as much hatred as there was last year. And I would feel like that John Cena should have had even bigger fire lit under him because of trying to seek that redemption and his whole life falling apart, after that loss. But at the end of the day, John Cena picked up the win over The Rock, and the news coming out is The Rock was really badly injured in that match. He ended up separating some muscles from the bone, and he was still able to compete for another 10 to 15 minutes. So my hat's off to The Rock. A lot of people criticize The Rock, but I have to say, The Rock came back when the WWE needed him most, and we should be proud. One of our wrestlers was able to transcend the boundaries of sports entertainment and break out to the mainstream. So many have tried, but nobody's been as successful as Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. I want to know your guys' thoughts. I want to know your guys' feedback, and I want you to drop it below. For the effing brand, my name is Brian Crazy. I hope you have a great night, and I'll catch you in just a little bit with my Monday Night Raw review.